we do have some more recruiting news this week. And at first, Jordan, I thought it was just going to be minor news and notes from us on the recruiting front going into tonight. But then something happened in the last 24 hours that I was not expecting. I was caught totally off guard by it. But it is a welcome surprise. And that is a commitment from 4-star athlete Joel Wyatt. Jordan, your initial thoughts on Joel Wyatt?
Well, thankfully, I got a chance to look at some of his film, and I mean, he seems to be a very interesting player that Tennessee got. He's listed at 6'4", 195. I mean, and he's played a little receiver. They had him like listed as safety, although like on his film, it seemed like he played a lot more outside linebacker than he did safety. So I'm not quite sure like what he's going to end up playing at Tennessee, but I'll say on offense, he seemed to be a pretty good deep threat. I mean, it seemed like most of his plays, he was either going downfield, making contested catches, or he was like taking a screen pass. And, he's a little bit more shifty than you would think for someone as long as him. And speaking of long too, I mean, like, he's like routinely getting past a lot of these defenders, seemingly like burning them. But he doesn't necessarily look that fast on film. Maybe it's the camera angle. Maybe it's something else, but I honestly think that it's because he's just got such long legs that it just doesn't
strides.
Yeah. It just doesn't look like he's running as fast as he truly is. And then, he's like, he's only 195 at 6'4", but I mean, he's shown that he's not afraid to lower his shoulder on some plays. And I mean, I've seen a couple where he was stiff arming, and he seems like a hard receiver to tackle, at least offensively. And then when you go to the defensive side, like I said, he primarily seemed to be an edge rusher, but he made a lot of tackles in the backfield. I mean, a lot of the time he was going back there, he was stopping the running back dead in their tracks. But I didn't see too much of him pressuring the quarterback, and maybe that is because he kind of played a safety outside linebacker hybrid. I mean, like I said, on his film, it looked more linebacker-ish. But I mean, if he is going to play linebacker at Tennessee, I will say like the biggest thing is he's going to have to put on a significant amount of weight. And who knows? I mean, we've seen it before, like Tennessee players get bigger. And then how about that Cal receiver that was making waves around Twitter and all the muscle mass that he put on?
Oh, yeah, I saw that guy.
Yeah.
Where did he transfer from again? I've forgotten.
It may have been like an FCS school. I can't really remember. But yeah, I mean, that dude had a crazy transformation. So I mean, with the current like strength staffs that a lot of these college football programs have, like I'm sure he can get on the weight, but I mean get put on some weight, but I don't know if he could put on like 50 pounds plus in like a year. So he might be a project for Tennessee, I would imagine, unless something crazy happens. But what are your thoughts on him? Because I was honestly impressed with his film.
So I think he is among probably the top 5 most intriguing recruits in this 2026 class. I would say you put the 2 5-stars in there, Faison Brandon, Gabriel Ascenda. Braden Rouse is another one that sticks out to me just because of that same versatility factor you talked about. Legend Bay with the breakaway speed, obviously. And then the other two that really fascinate me are the Mississippi duo down there in Jackson Academy. I think both of those guys could bring a lot to this team. But you look at Joel Wyatt, and it's a very interesting story because he was playing for Webb Bell Buckle, and it was, I think, maybe 2 days after he announced he was transferring, they announced they were not playing football in 2025. So maybe he found out that was happening before, and then he decided to transfer high schools, which that makes total sense. Your football program's not playing. Why waste your time there? So he transferred to Oakland High School, which, if you know anything about high school football in Tennessee, they are the perennial public school power. Sorry to those of you who live in Maryville, Tennessee. It's just the truth. I feel like you get way more standout recruits there, and Tennessee has gotten several. over the years there. Most recently, the running back, Dwayne Morris, who was between Tennessee and USC. And then another one, this is a little further back, about 10 years ago now, but Jack Jones, offensive lineman from the Butch Jones era. He is an Oakland Patriot as well. So he's going to be there now, and he's going to have a lot more eyes on him than he did probably at Webb Bell Buckle, which I think could be a good thing. And he's going to be going up against more than likely tougher competition as well in the 6A level. That's as good as it gets in the public school ranks. And when you look at his film, and my biggest question is, what does Tennessee want to do with him? Because there is so much to look at. Because I think his best qualities are, A, the fact that he can deliver some pretty violent hits. You saw it every now and again in the backfield. And B, his verticality. He's obviously 6'4", so he's got that going for him. But you could see him high-pointing footballs back there as a wide receiver. And even as a safety, he had some pretty nice-looking plays. And just going up and getting up high in the air and trying to go for the ball. And that's exactly what you want at both of those positions. But again, it all comes down to what Tennessee wants to do with him. And I know in some of the other recruiting pitches, like Vanderbilt specifically, who was the other team that was really after Wyatt, they wanted him playing wide receiver. And to me, it doesn't look like Tennessee wants him playing wide receiver. Again, we'll see what happens. It's unclear what Tennessee wants to do. I know when we had Ryan Shumpert on, this has been 3 or 4 weeks ago now, but he was mentioning it's going to be the defensive line thing. They're going to pretty much turn him into an edge rusher and make him gain all that weight, which he'd have to if he was going to play there or outside linebacker. But it's just there's so many different things to choose from. Like, I think whatever it is you want him to be, he'll be it for you. But you just got to tell him what to do, I think is the big thing. But overall, I'm very impressed with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about him too, and I'm excited that Tennessee's been getting seemingly a lot of these type of players in this recruiting class, like, that can play multiple positions. But I'm with you. Like, I mean, he seemingly does well at wide receiver. I mean, like I said, he's played a lot off the edge, but it's like the biggest question is, what does he play? And I think he can fit in anywhere. And, even on his receiving highlights, I saw him make a couple of blocks on there too, or at least one. I saw that he included a blocking highlight on there too. So, I mean, I feel like he can do a little bit everything. They even had him in the return game at some point, I think his sophomore season. So, I mean, he's the true definition of an athlete. And I see 24/7 had him listed as the number 5 athlete in the country. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see what he ends up playing at Tennessee. But I feel like, the fact that he can play multiple positions is a good problem to have. But I mean, he's surely going to have to choose between wide receiver or like outside back or like, defensive line, because there's no way he can play both. I mean, there's no way.